the mentors and curators to provide information about the moon. We cannot say everything. Who called? I called, and who else? There is no one else. Well, the question is general. No one here cares about the moon, and nothing will change for you here if you develop knowledge about the moon, because you have many unresolved problems here. Nevertheless, it is a common object. How can it be common if it is in space? Just as you consider the Earth yours. But it is in space, so it is. There are agreements regarding other celestial bodies. Who operates them? What do you mean by operates? Extracts resources? No, there is no such need for resource extraction for everyone. That is while you are at this stage. It means management, coordination of bases. At the moment, there are 4 bases there. Okay, why don't we see them? Because such technology is not meant for viewing. All life is arranged inside. No, it is not hollow. There is certainly a core, certainly its own mantle. But inside there are many craft tunnels that represent different interconnected bases. But why did you choose? We didn't choose. I am conveying the information you are requesting in the mode that is currently accessible. And who are these 4, at least? Can we name someone you have already contacted? I sense by energy that there will be a representative of Burkid Swan constellation there. Well, then we will guess like that. No need to guess. Everything important to know will definitely be conveyed. Everything unnecessary will remain. Who else? No serious, no Orion. I will then use the elimination method. May I? No Nihil, there is Arcturus. But they rarely visit, and 2 more. 2 more, one I cannot identify. Can I say, no, there is no such need to speak? Then so, is it true that the so-called Anunnaki manage separate underground spaces hidden beneath the moon's surface? No, they were there long ago. They left. Why did they leave? They could not keep their word. They did not keep their word. And what were they doing there? Were they extracting? They were extracting some metal. But you see, I began our session with the question about resources. Therefore, we say that those who do not keep their word and begin using resources without coordination with the other representatives of civilizations, other bases must leave. Okay, and what is the purpose of these 4 spaces? Let's call them bases, yes. Is it control over Earth? No, that would be too wasteful to allocate such an amount of resources for control. Patrol crews are enough, which regularly and systematically examine your military combat points. But we have certain tasks there. Which ones? Laboratory research is being conducted. Why? And why can't laboratory research be conducted within one's own systems? One's own galaxies? Such is the strategy's desire. Well, that is, the next desire could be Earth. No, there is no such task, and also what? It is a very convenient point for crew transfers and re-equipping. But we don't see them due to such technology. You will not see a lot, okay? Then, why do we see unidentified flying objects? Especially over American bases, especially in the Far East, in Crimea, in the mountains, in Kazakhstan. Well, they make many systematic, regular flights, and where the airspace is free and cleared of your targeting systems, and there is no ultrasound. There is no point in masking, and there are mainly probes. Am I correct that Americans have not been on the moon? No, there was an attempt, but they were not ready. Now the mission that is being defined. Will it be effective, do you want to say? Will your astronauts land, make a moon landing? Yes, they may feel the landing, but that does not mean they will research anything. But why? We also have the same right to conduct research on the nearest celestial bodies. Just like you, especially since you are doing it from another galaxy. You have different goals. If we do not have laboratories and replacement of propulsion modules that are charged inside, then your task is to equip everything with large, powerful weapon points to strike against some of your opponents on Earth. You have different goals, so there will be no support here. Well, that is, will you destroy these ships? No, they will not be destroyed. They will simply want to leave themselves. Why? For several reasons. Firstly, they will not find information. Secondly, it will be technically difficult for them to work. Well, that is, you will interfere. Think, perceive as you wish. Is it true that the moon was previously part of the Earth? No? Okay, there is another hypothesis. It doesn't work either. Mostly a lot was artificially created. Why such a magnetic field? Why are you so connected? You probably also want to know. It shows the pulling of the pole. That is, there is such a visualization of an image. The pulling of the pole, why is this needed? For balancing, strange, well, who does this? It is the creator. It is a program, we do not do it. We do not create planets, we can create artificial bases. And all these developed civilizations from other galaxies can make such flying objects. Viable, very large in size, but they do not resemble celestial bodies, do not resemble planets. And how do you decide who occupies which share of the space inside? How is it distributed? It is distributed by voting of the interstellar government. As a meeting shows, and what kind of laboratory? Does it mean genealogical DNA? Are you growing another batch of robots there? Do not be so ironic. No, not exactly. What then? Microorganisms of the environment. How does the moon, its frequencies, its atmosphere affect the human psyche? Directly, just as everything growing is subject to the frequencies that exist in the vast astronomical space. You feel the influence of distant planets less. But regarding the moon, Venus, Mars, Mercury, you can feel it. It mainly affects working with information. How the etheric field perceives these electromagnetic frequencies, transforms them into information. Because these angles, these waves of the frequency range color this information. And thus for each person it has its own shade. You do not know how to perceive pure information. You pass it through emotions, through etheric subtle planes. So there are many mentally mobile people who are prone to major illnesses, and how to learn to do and detach, and disconnect to bring oneself into a state of higher flow, connecting precisely with oneself, with one source, with one spiritual cell, core, in order to cleanse from various different other frequencies. You see many live, you used to have such radio stations. Like noise, a lot of noise when tuning a radio, and so many live constantly in such noise, and therefore their inner voice goes deaf. They cannot listen to themselves. They have several frequency ranges at once on different waves. And everything is noisy, and because of this noise, they do not hear anything, anyone, and most importantly, themselves. Therefore, it is very important here to reset, to be able to reset, to zero oneself to that point of the higher self, to connect with oneself, to tune into the frequency, and then use this as a tuning fork to check any other information that will come. No matter whether from other planetary systems, or from other people, or from humanoids, or from entities, or from phenomena, or from nature if, for example, the mission of lunar cruise from Earth is designated as non-military but scientific. Can this mission find support from you? We should not support anyone. You must build your own stations. You must develop your own capabilities. Okay, but at least there will be no obstacles from other non-terrestrial civilizations that are already based inside the moon. There will not be, but there must be careful attitude towards everything. There is no negative impact on Earth from these internal bases located under your moon. Otherwise, you would all feel some increase in radiation. But you have a fairly strong electromagnetic grid that protects and safeguards, and we have no task to destroy anything. But am I correct that these bases were created as a plan B? If, for example, humanity starts some movements regarding nuclear weapons in space, I thank for this too.